What's going on, guys? TieFly85 here again.
I'm TREC87, and we're back better than ever. But first, before we get started today, we kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit just about a few changes to the channel, kind of our new direction moving forward, what we kind of want to do. TieFly, do you want to go over that, or?
Yeah, so basically what we're looking to do here with the new format is kind of more of what would be considered like a podcast, really. So we're not going to do anything specific like we used to do, where each day of the week was kind of a different topic. We're just going to kind of take all of the topics and bunch them all together and make one like long show, is what we're looking to do.
Yeah, so we're looking to do more of like a weekly show, as opposed to a daily show, which I think was a little bit much for both of us. It was really pressing because it kind of consumed all of our time. So this is just what we want to do moving forward. Doesn't necessarily have to be movies or games related. You know, sometimes we might brush on, other topics that we find interesting or maybe even controversial. One I kind of wanted to touch on today a little bit, especially was Roseanne, and also I believe that the YouTuber Pogo was his name.
Yep.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit, but first, before we do that, let's pull up the Star Wars the box office numbers for Solo, and I think we wanted to talk about that first today.
Yeah, let's pull that up. Let's see the magnificence of Star Wars and Lucasfilm, please.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing about Solo, dude, is that, I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't plan on seeing it just because it's, I don't really care about it, honestly. Like, the dude looks too different to me, that it doesn't look like Han Solo, doesn't sound like Han Solo, and I think that's a lot of the reason why this movie didn't do very good. And if you look at the numbers, dude, like, I mean, it's not doing terrible, really. I mean, like, so June 1st through June 3rd, it's top of the box office again. I mean, it beat out Deadpool. Deadpool does have more money overall. Can you see what I'm seeing with the box office?
Yeah.
Okay. Just
I mean, honestly, for anybody who's like familiar with like numbers and stuff like that when it comes to movies, I mean, they're currently only sitting at what, $264 million, like total. That's also for international and domestic. So total $264 million. I mean, this has got to be the lowest grossing Star Wars film to date.
Yeah.
Like, even the prequels, that people somehow like hate them, which I don't understand it. I can understand people's dislike of like Jar Jar and a few of the things that he added in to the prequels, but oh my goodness, those movies were amazing.
I love the prequels, dude.
I loved the prequels. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah, no.
I mean, compared to these new movies that are coming out, like, they were great.
Yeah, they weren't bad at all.
Yeah, as far as those numbers go, though, like, this is the lowest grossing Star Wars film of all time. I mean, it couldn't even hit $500 million. Which, I mean, The Force Awakens hit $500 million in, like, almost its first weekend. Yeah. Which was, like, insane. So, to have something like that, like, that's a huge flop.
Oh, here we go. Here's every Star Wars box office, let's see. Every Star Wars box office numbers. Solo sits at number 10. Basically, the only one that did worse and would be... Oh, no, none of them. It did the worst. So
yeah, no, it did the worst.
Yeah, if you look at it, I mean, like, it's number 10 with 148 million gross. I don't know how current... Oh, as of 5/25. But... I mean, Empire Strikes Back did, Attack of the Clones, which I personally did not like Attack of the Clones. I thought that one sucked, but I like the other prequels. I mean, they all did better, and I think that, this movie was surrounded by a lot of controversy in the very beginning. There were a lot of reports of, of them having to hire, like, an actor coach for, I don't even know who the main actor's name is, honestly. They had to hire an acting coach for him. There was like reshoots and all this, and this film kind of had like controversy from the very beginning. And so I think this expectations, everybody was just like, oh, this movie's gonna suck. And I mean, who knows? It might. From people that I have either seen on YouTube, like Boogie, or other people that I've talked to that have seen it, they've really liked it. But I think that excitement for this film was so low. Ha! Got that pun? So, um, it was so low, when this film came out. There's nobody wants to see it, and it kind of sucks. I guess the only thing I really care about at this point for this movie is that I hope it does not jeopardize the future of the Star Wars spin-offs, because like Rogue One was really great. And there's been rumors swirling around of there being like a Boba Fett movie possibly. It sounds like the Obi-Wan movie is definitely happening, which I'm super excited about. So I just hope it doesn't jeopardize those things going forward. But I'm sure Disney's making enough money that they're okay with like a misstep every once in a while. Because I mean it's certainly a cash cow, and it's going to only add to the House of Mouse's vault of gold that they have. So
well, I hope that they take this as a learning lesson. Sure. And don't because like we were kind of discussing before, where Disney just doesn't want Disney/Star Wars does not want to show a bad side to any of their movies or anything that they do.
Right.
So they don't want to be vulnerable to say, oh, we made a mistake, like let's do better next time. Right. No, they just want to push this like, oh, the movie's doing amazing, it's doing great, we're going to go forward and screw everybody. But as far as it goes for Solo, with this being such the lowest like grossing Star Wars film, and with it just having been, pretty much panned by audiences, it got like massive, huge reviews for all the critics, and then for all audiences, people were just like, nah, I don't want to go see it. Like, right. This was a movie made for who? Like, who was it made for? And as far as what you were saying with production issues, I would have been more interested to see what Lord and Miller originally started with this film, and to see what that would have progressed into. It's almost as if we had another Justice League on our hands,
right,
with the whole Zack Snyder thing. Don't get me wrong, Ron Howard, amazing director. The guy does good work, and I respect him for stepping into that and taking on the responsibility that he did, which is, there's nothing against Ron Howard, but there's nothing you could have done with any director to like make it better than it was.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see it, so I haven't seen it. I have no idea, but I have no desire to see it, even with Ron Howard as the director. Right. I don't know who they could have put as the director to make me wanted to see that movie. I felt like there was no need for it. And they really do need, right now, if they want to revigorize everybody and bring everybody back and bring us all back together, Obi-Wan with Ian McGregor. It needs to happen, and it needs to happen now.
Absolutely, dude. And it's funny because as much as like the prequel trilogy got dogged on, everybody loves Ewan McGregor, and everybody loved him in that role. He did a good job as Obi-Wan. Like nobody can argue that fact, I think. And I think that the Obi-Wan movie, if it is indeed coming out, which it sounds like it is, I think it's going to have the exact opposite. The exact opposite things that are going to happen is what happened with Solo. I think the expectation for this film is going to skyrocket. I think everybody's going to see it. I think it's going to make $1 bajillion. If you look, it looks like there's already been talks for sure about this movie happening. We do know this.
I feel like Disney, the only reason why I think I had mentioned that to you before about the whole Boba Fett / Obi-Wan movie, is I feel like there was so much backlash against Lucasfilm and Disney with the fans that they had to throw something out there to try to like retain the people that are just so pissed off.
Sure.
Like they're so irritated and just like, I'm done with you. Because if you think about it from a business aspect, when it comes to Disney, they're currently in the markets of trying to get 20th Century Fox, which the biggest thing for them is their market value. Mm-hmm. So when movies and stuff are starting to take a dive bomb, like that's going to lower their stock, which is going to make it look bad in the long run. But also too, next year, they're opening up the new Star Wars lands, Galaxy's Edge, at Disneyland, California, and Florida, the Florida park, Disney World. So to have something that massive that you put that much money into, and you're hoping to bring all these people to it, like you got to course correct, because you've pissed so many people off that I think that they can do it. I think they just need to admit that they've made a mistake.
And that's the one thing is with Star Wars, it's got such a devout fan base from people of so many ages, like people of literally all age groups, love Star Wars. And I think they're pretty forgiving about it. A lot of us, a good portion of people, this for a lot of people was like a bunch of, defining movies from our childhoods, like the original Star Wars series. Anytime I ever could catch one of the original movies when I was a kid, I'd always watch it. And especially if it was like Return of the Jedi or anything like that, because that was my favorite. And
yeah, hands down, Return of the Jedi, best one.
And I think if they, just managed to go back to that, I feel like Solo didn't seem like a Star Wars movie to me when I saw like the trailers and stuff. And so it just felt like it didn't feel Star Wars, and I'm sure it is, but I feel like maybe the trailers didn't convey that well enough, because like Rogue One definitely felt like a Star Wars movie, and it just something didn't seem right to me, and I think a lot of people feel that way. So I don't know, but I am super excited that they're gonna it looks like they're gonna be doing an Obi-Wan movie. Looks like they're saying that the script should be done by the end of the fall. And they're going to be filming in early 2019, April 2019, and it would be in cinemas at the end of 2020. Obviously, it wouldn't come out in 2019 because I think that's when Episode 9 is going to come out. But this movie, I think, could definitely be a redeeming point for the franchise. What have you heard about, like, a Boba Fett movie?
I actually haven't heard anything at all about that.
Really?
I think most of the swirl right now is basically for the Obi-Wan. Like, people are just like losing their minds over Ian McGregor and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And I think that it has to happen. I think that it has to happen.
So, no, here, get this. So, let me throw this up here so everybody can see it. James Mangold, who, as we all know, directed Logan, is writing and directing and will direct a Star Wars standalone movie centered on Boba Fett, the feared bounty hunter and fan favorite character. And I almost I think it'll be, I don't know, I almost think it would be of, like after the Sarlacc pit. I know like he died, but if they could either have like one of two things happen. One, he could crawl out of the Sarlacc pit and be alive, or two, somebody eventually comes along and finds Boba Fett's, like, say, his armor didn't get digested, and they, fucking throw on Boba Fett's armor, and they become the new Boba Fett.
Well, for anybody who has seen Solo, because I've seen a lot of, like, images and videos and stuff, because I'll never see the movie, but one of the main protagonists in the movie, or antagonist, sorry, he ends up having Mandalorian armor in the background. He has, like, a Sith holocron, and he has Mandalorian armor. And so it just leads you to believe that, like, that armor, most likely, Boba Fett wouldn't have been the only person in the entire galaxy to have that specific armor.
No.
If we're seeing that same armor in a Solo movie that's supposed to be set way before all of this happened.
No, and you're absolutely right. And as somebody who's played, like, the Star Wars games, like all of them, like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff, I can tell you that the Mandalorian armor is definitely just that style of armor. What made Boba Fett's armor unique was just that it was like all tattered and green and like rusted and just like junky looking. So it's definitely there. I mean, like his armor's not like unique, I guess I would say. But
and if they, I mean, unfortunately, they threw out all of what canon was for what all hardcore Star Wars fans knew before Disney bought Lucasfilm. But, I mean, that whole thing as far as canon for Star Wars was that Boba Fett didn't actually die.
Right.
And that he did come back out of the Sarlacc pit, and then the whole, his story kind of continued on. So, I mean, it's definitely possible that they can just do something like that. Or that he survived and explain a tiny little story and then continue on.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for both of those. Honestly, way more excited for those two films. Especially James Mangold's directing it. Like, I didn't know who this dude was right up until Logan, and then I was like his biggest fan because I loved Logan. So I'm super excited for that. I'm sure Episode 9 they're gonna find a way to make it good, and it's gonna do well. But I'm not nearly as excited for Episode 9 as I am for an Obi-Wan movie and a Boba Fett movie. So
I totally agree.
So from that, did you want to segue into any other topic?
The only biggest thing that I saw was, yeah, no, not really. I mean, that's pretty much it. Solo is a freaking flop. I think that was the main point we were trying to make there. Is
Sure.
it pretty much
Yeah.
flopped, and they need to course correct their
Well,
problems.
I feel like we nailed
Something
that
though,
point.
just as a quick note on top of that, I did see Avengers: Infinity War,
Oh, did you?
amazing
I
movie.
hate you. I
And the
didn't see it.
crazy thing about like Disney having all of these properties that are like supposed to be these billion-dollar movies, Avengers, just Marvel period, is making hit after hit after hit after hit. So it just doesn't make any sense to me on how Star Wars can't just follow the same. It's almost like Warner Brothers too. Why can't you follow the same recipe
Because
as Marvel?
if you do, like, I guess here my counterpoint, because I see exactly what you're saying, is Avengers and Marvel, they have like a formula, for their movies. Like their heroes are witty. They're always funny. There's always tense, dramatic moments, and there's moments where like people actually get hurt. There's always like those scenes where like Iron Man gets the crap knocked out of him, or whatever, from whatever movie. And my counterpoint would be like, okay, so and then you look at like the DC universe, it doesn't ever really happen. Like everybody takes a punch, but they're fine. Like even Batman got dropped from like 90 feet up, and he was fine. Dropped by Superman, and like that would have broken his legs, or whatever. I realized that would be like not good for the storyline, but
Well, I mean, to add to your point too about Bane, I mean, Bane basically broke his back, and somehow he just came back like nothing happened. Sorry,
right, and that's
continue.
no, but that's a little different, I guess. But that's similar. But is in this new DC universe, the heroes are like impervious all the time, basically. I mean, obviously Superman died, but he came back. But I mean, the fights I feel like aren't that dramatic. I think the whole tonally like they can't exactly copy Marvel, because if they do, everybody's gonna be like, you're just trying to rip off Marvel. And they know they have to like go on their own path. I mean, you'll notice even in like Justice League, they definitely did a little more. They definitely took a page out of Marvel's book and tried to make everybody a little funnier, and tried to make it a little bit lighter, as versus Batman versus Superman, where it was like super dark all the time. And so they've even made some concessions there, but they're trying to do it their own way and have their own style. And same thing with Star Wars. Like Star Wars is trying to do their own thing, and they're trying to call back to that classic Star Wars. It's where it's a space opera. But they can't have it be like where everybody's funny all the time, and it's always quick witty one-liners and this and that. They can't copy that formula exactly, but I just don't think they're doing a good job with what they're doing. They do need to take it in a new direction, I guess is my point, before I keep just rambling. Is that I think they need to take it into a kind of a new direction, but Marvel, they figured it out early on, like from the very beginning, like Iron Man 1. It was exactly what it was. It was, Iron Man was funny, he was brave, there was tense moments, and it did fantastic. And every movie since then has basically followed that formula, and so they've got a winning formula, and they've got to figure it out. And I mean, I'm not in their shoes, obviously, like a motion picture studio shoes, and so I can't say, I think it would be easy to figure out like exactly what you need to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I do agree that yeah, no, I agree.
It's just, yeah, I know it was really long. It just, yeah, I don't know, man. I wish, I like the new Star Wars movies. I'll say that up front. I like The Force Awakens. I liked The Last Jedi. I was disappointed by the whole thing with Luke, obviously. Everybody was, even Mark Hamill was. But I still like them. I find it hard to hate movies, though, is my thing, is I'm really like a movie lover. Even when I see a bad movie, I usually find good things about it. Have you seen, I guess to get off of the Star Wars topic, have you seen Deadpool 2?
No, I need to. Oh
Oh
my
my
goodness, I
god,
have
dude.
to. I
It
have
is
to.
so good. So here was my takeaway from Deadpool 2. I don't want to give away any of the story for anybody. I mean, it's not like a super complex story, but to me it wasn't as funny as the first one. I didn't have as many moments where I laughed, but it was better than the first one. I felt like the story was better. The story was more real. It just felt more cohesive. Cable was a great character, dude. I 100% recommend that movie. You should absolutely watch it. Um, Other than that, I mean, moving on to like I guess